Now, the food on the menu at this Chinese restaurant in Manchester not only tastes delicious, but it's also played an important part in the remarkable history of one woman. Lily Kwok came to Manchester from Hong Kong during the 1950s and opened one of the first Chinese restaurants in the UK. She passed away last December, but Andy Johnson's been finding out how her memory and her dishes are living on, thanks to her granddaughters.
She was the first Chinese woman to set up a Chinese restaurant in the UK. A single woman at that, with 2 children.
They didn't know what Chinese food were. We were the only one there.
I used to see people like Cliff Richard, the Hollies, the Beatles in their early days, all just having a bite to eat, especially Lily Kwok's chicken curry.
Twin sisters Helen and Lisa C should know a thing or two about Chinese cuisine. It's in the blood. When they and younger sister Janet opened the sweet Mandarin restaurant in Manchester's northern quarter in 2004, they were following in the footsteps of their mother Mabel and grandmother Lily Kwok, the first woman to open a Chinese restaurant in the UK. She died last year, but her secret recipes have been passed on through 3 generations of the family, ensuring her legacy lives on.
Also meeting customers, being afraid of them.
Helen's book about her grandmother's story is attracting international media attention, both here in the UK and in America.
This book has now been hailed as a real-life Joy Luck Club. It's been endorsed by Amy Tan and Oprah Chef. It's a book that I think is important.
Lily's story begins in rural China, where she was born in 1918.
Our family grew up in a farming village where you really didn't have any money whatsoever. You really were struggling to put food on the table. So kids would, run around barefoot.
Her father managed to drag the family out of poverty by setting up a successful business supplying soy sauce to restaurants in Hong Kong.
It was this step in his journey that transferred our family from utter rural poverty to capitalist Hong Kong in the 1920s.
But Lisa, that ended in tragedy, didn't it? Tell me what happened.
Yes, well, my great-grandfather, he actually got murdered for the soy sauce business by a rival merchant. And because of that, my grandmother and her family were left in poverty again. So the only way they could really survive was to find jobs and, make ends meet. And one of those jobs was actually working as a maid in an English family's home.
Lily worked for wealthy European families in Hong Kong, surviving the Japanese occupation during the Second World War. After the war, she worked for an English family. When they returned to England in 1952, they asked Lily to come and work for them. It meant leaving her young children behind in Hong Kong with her mother.
It was terrible. I mean, no mother wants to leave their child behind, right? And I couldn't even imagine leaving our baby niece behind today. So for a mother to have to leave, her 2 kids behind, it must have been really desperate measures, desperate times.
The voyage to England took 6 long weeks, and it was during this time she invented the chicken curry that was to become her trademark.
It was on the SS Canton that my grandmother began to experiment with the new techniques and ingredients she found on her journey. And it was here that the dish that made her name as a restaurateur came to fruition: Lily Kwok's chicken curry.
Lily's curry recipe is a family secret, but I've been invited to make the famous dish.
So it's quite a quick recipe in a way, isn't it? Once you've prepared everything, it's not.
The hardest thing is the sauce.
Yeah.
And when it starts bubbling, then you actually add in the actual sauce.
It all goes into it, yeah. Nearly all of it.
Well, you don't need all of that.
I hope I'm doing your grandmother proud here. Fantastic colour, isn't it, as well?
Yes.
Really wonderful. There we go.
Lily Kwok's chicken curry.
Even if I say so myself, that is delicious. And the great thing, it appears to me, Lisa, is this is a recipe that's been handed down over so many years. What would your grandmother think about that?
Oh, she'll be so pleased, because it's still, serving her authentic Lily Kwok's chicken curry in the restaurant and sharing her good food with people around the world.
Lily eventually returned to Hong Kong to bring her children back to England. the family moved to Manchester and opened the Lung Fung restaurant in Middleton.
This roundabout here is where it all started. Unfortunately, Lung Fung, my grandmother's restaurant, has been knocked down now.
Yeah.
But could you imagine, there's the Warwick Mill, and in front of that was these terrace houses. At the end of that road, on the corner, was my grandmother's restaurant, Lung Fung.
Wow.
And beside that was a small grocer's shop.
In the late 1950s, the Manchester music scene attracted some of the top bands of the time, and the Lung Fung restaurant became a favourite haunt for the pop stars.
Come on, pretty baby, let's move it and a groove it.
I remember quite a lot of groups. The most famous person was Cliff Richard, because he was very famous then after making the Young Ones. But some people told me, oh, the Beatles came in as well, that when they were playing in Middleton. This is curry and bean sprout, and then a bit of soy sauce with extra taste.
The Lung Fung may have gone, but the family still run a takeaway in Middleton, and the food's as popular as ever.
So Helen, this is where you used to live and work.
That's right. This is the shop where I grew up, and I used to help my family. You know, serve chips. Would you like salt and vinegar on your chips, or soy sauce on the curry? And you know, well, we would do our homework upstairs, and then if we were busy, Dad would call us and go, "We're busy, get down here." So we'd go down, serve a bag of chips, you know, serve the customers, and then go back upstairs and do our homework.
And of course, you all did very well once you left home, didn't you? You went to college, university, and then went away for a while.
I guess, you know, in your life, there are moments which change how you think about things. And I guess one of the moments was in this chippy, because I actually saw my mum being attacked in a racial incident where this thug actually came towards her, stole a bag of chips and punched her, and she hit her head against the wall and collapsed. Now, you know, as an 11-year-old seeing that, it's devastating. And then this thug actually went on to say, "How dare you stay in this country? What are you doing here? Get back to your own country." Well, we all looked at each other and thought, this is the only home we know. Where are we supposed to go? And at that point I thought, you know, I can't change the fact that I'm Chinese, even though I did put a peg on my nose at night to try and make it straighter.
Did you?
Yeah. And I can't change the fact that I'm poor, but I can change the fact that I can improve my education. So I thought, I'm going to take my finger out of my ear and listen to what the teacher says. And that's why, I guess, when I graduated from Cambridge University and qualified as a lawyer, I not only fulfilled my dreams, but those of my mother and grandmother.
But after pursuing separate careers in law, business and engineering, the three sisters eventually decided to open a restaurant together.
Lisa, you all went on your separate paths, didn't you, doing different things. What made you get back into the restaurant business again?
Well, it was really through a family holiday in 2002 where we went back to Hong Kong and really rediscovered our roots. We actually saw where my grandmother grew up. We saw, like, you know, basically all the different areas in terms of, like, her upbringing. And it was fascinating because, as you can imagine, being growing up in Manchester, especially in England, you know, you're so not au fait with how it's done in the Far East. So we went there and we basically had rediscovered our roots.
And the story has come full circle. A visiting football team from Beijing are tonight's VIP guests.
What I've learned throughout my journey in opening Sweet Mandarin and writing this book has been that there are so many things in this world that try to divide you with other people, so many things that try to pigeonhole you, but really food is that uniting factor. Food breaks down those barriers and creates friendship. So for us, we really do hope, you know, our food will live on, as well as the memory of our